Hello, I'm Theo Lloyd-Hughes and welcome, very warm welcome to Full Time Review, presented by Amazon Business. Thanks so much for joining us, and we've got an amazing show coming up. On the show today, really excited to be joined by Jordyn Listro, captain of the Tampa Bay Sun, the inaugural winners of the USL-Super League. She's going to be reflecting. And then to close out, going to be joined by the Athletics' Asli Pelit to talk about Evelyn Shores, the US Youth National Team breakout player who scored the $1 million goal at TST, as well as talk a little bit about host cities, the scoop for who could be hosting and how they'll do it at the 2031 Women's World Cup in the United States. There is so much to get to, so let's get to it. And first, we have to talk about a major off-the-pitch story in the NWSL this weekend. Angel City FC responded to immigration raids and the resulting protests in Los Angeles during Saturday night's 2-1 home defeat to North Carolina. The NWSL club printed 10,000 shirts which read Immigrant City Football Club along the front and Los Angeles is for everyone, Los Angeles es para todos along the back. The shirts were distributed to supporters and fans entering BMO Stadium on Saturday night. Some Angel City players even wore these shirts as they entered the stadium. And new head coach Alexander Strauss also sported the shirt along with his technical staff on the sidelines during the game. Throughout the stadium, Angel City distributed cards with a new statement following the initial statement they released following protests on June 7th. The cards at the stadium that night read, "The fabric of this city is made of immigrants. Football does not exist without immigrants. This club would not exist without immigrants." Recording artist and founding investor Becky G also read that message from the field before player walkouts on Saturday night. As communities are being disrupted across the United States, eyes are on NWSL clubs to see how they will respond and make their voice count. Absolutely delighted to be here with one of the inaugural USL Super League champions, captain of the Tampa Bay Sun, Jordyn Listro. Jordyn, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I can only imagine what it's like to win a championship. I never have in my life. First off, does it seem real? What's the emotion right now?
It honestly still doesn't feel real. I am just so incredibly happy and proud of this team. This season has been something really special. The group of girls that we had, I've never been a part of a team like this before. And yeah, to be able to finish it the way we wanted to is amazing.
How did you celebrate last night? Obviously, it was fantastic.
Yes.
You got to do it in front of your home fans. I saw a few videos of some great scenes in front of the fans.
Yeah, we had some fun champagne showers in the locker room. And then we took the party to one of our favorite places in Tampa that's right across from our stadium.
It is amazing to be new league, new team. Like you said, incredible environment. Clearly everyone, has really bonded, but you're immediately just history makers, right? You're the first ever to do this, the first season. What were those conversations like when you kind of realized that now it's done? You are sort of that first person in the history book, and what you've dreamed of achieving, you have achieved. Were there any kind of conversations with friends, family, or teammates at the end of the night?
And I think everyone took a leap of faith when, we signed for this team. It's a brand new league. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. And, a lot of us came from different environments. So it was a surprise to everyone. But, all my expectations have been exceeded. And it has been an incredible year. And then obviously to make history in this city and to do it, with all the other championship teams that come out of Tampa Bay is incredible. And then, one thing that's big for me is to be able to see all those little girls that come to our game and now they have a dream of playing professional soccer in Tampa, and that didn't exist years ago. It didn't exist when I was in college. So even for players that go to USF or UT, they can dream of playing professionally in the city that they played college in.
Amazing finish from an assist by Sydney Nacello in the final there. A really tough game. Fort Lauderdale, that Florida derby, it was really hyped up. Great crowd as well. What was your experience of the final?
To be honest, it didn't feel like, we had more opportunities. Like in the first half, yes, we had opportunities, but I never felt like it was really going our way. I thought it was kind of back and forth the whole time. And then I think at halftime, just, taking a breath and realizing that, okay, we have 45 minutes to give everything we have. And just, looking around the locker room and making sure everyone was locked in for this next half. I think we came out a lot better. And you saw that in the second half. I think we started to get our rhythm and, got that goal in overtime. I wish we had gotten it in the 90 minutes because it made it even more stressful. But we, got that goal. Such a great goal. Nacella's been doing that all season long, and same with Flo. So, we knew it was going to come, but it was nice when the ball hit the back of the net, and then we had to lock in for the rest of the overtime because you never know what can happen in those moments.
And when you're captain, right? You talk about taking that breath at halftime in the second half. This is, I feel like when you're the captain of a championship winning team, it must give you so much confidence to know those little things, those leadership things, right? That you do. Now you can say or sort of have proof that they work, and people will look to you and always will be able to remember kind of how you manage the team and manage the emotions through that final. So what are some of your kind of leadership skills, or what were the things you were saying to your teammates on Saturday night?
Yeah, I just want everyone to play with confidence. I think that our team is so talented, but when we show up and everyone plays their best, the whole team plays their best. So I think that I try and instill confidence in every one of my teammates, whether it be the training session before or leading up to the game, just, telling them things that they're good at, or, something that they're going to do great in the game. So I tried to do that. And then just throughout the game, just, looking at my teammates and just saying, like, come on, like, we got this, like, we need to lock in these times, because a lot of the goals that Fort Lauderdale scores are on set pieces, and that's something that we've given up a lot of set piece goals this season. So those were moments that we all needed to be focused, and I think everyone knew that. So we all echoed each other on the field, and we were able to get that done.
I do want to kind of wrap up here by talking a little bit about the USL-SL, kind of how you have found this inaugural season. And having played in the NWSL, having played in Liga FA in Spain, kind of been around the world, you've had international experience. Where do you feel this league has kind of entered the chat or entered the conversation when it comes to what it can offer world soccer, but, women's soccer in the United States as well?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with where it is at right now for being the first year of the league. I mean, you have in Tampa especially, our facilities are incredible, and our ownership puts in a lot of money and resources for us, and we're thankful for that. And I think it's just the league has started out on such a high, and it can only get better from here. Obviously, playing in the NWSL, it's really established, and 10 years in, top of the line facilities, the fan bases are there, they're coming together. Here, obviously, there's some markets that their fan bases aren't the same as ours, but that's just going to take time, and everything else in this league has honestly really surprised me. The talent, you saw that within the teams as well. Like, DC at the start, didn't play that well. And then come championship or come playoff time, like, everyone rose to the occasion. And there were multiple teams that could have made that top four. So, yeah, it's honestly been a really great experience, and I'm very impressed with where it is for the first year.
Jordyn, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and enjoy getting more rest.
Thank you.
All right, I'm delighted to welcome in the down to business expert herself, Asli Pelit.
Thank you, Theo. I'm good. It's hot in New York. I can complain.
Look, let's get down to business, Asli, as you like to do. I loved reading your Evelyn Shores story. She is sort of the woman of the moment. So I thought I'd bring you on and we could talk a little bit more about it. For maybe someone that doesn't know who Evelyn Shores is, who is Evelyn Shores and why is she making so many headlines right now?
Evelyn Shores is actually a rising star in the national team. She just scored U.S. Women's National Team U23's winning goal in Germany at the end of May. She is a rising star at University of North Carolina, her dream school that she dreamt of playing all her life since she was a little girl. But the reason she made the headlines is because she scored the winning goal for a U.S. women's team, led by Heather O'Reilly, but also, counts with Ellie Krieger and Carly Lloyd, like super U.S. woman. The $1 million goal that she scored for the team. And just to give context this is 7-a-side past, super fast-paced soccer tournament that has been happening for the last 3 years in Cary, North Carolina. And very close to University of North Carolina campus. And first year it was just men's, and they were playing for the $1 million prize. And it's winner takes all. So you get eliminated until last man standing. And then the second year they added the women's tournament. But the first year, Heather O'Reilly had a team competing against men. They did great. I mean, they didn't win, but they did pretty good. And then the second year, they asked the organizers to actually have a women's bracket. And the interest was huge. There's so many. And then they won the first year. And this year, Heather put together another team, invited this time Carly Lloyd joined as a player. The year before she was the coach because she was very pregnant at the time. Ellie Krieger also joined, and she invited 5 players from her alma mater, which is University of North Carolina, Evelyn being one of them. And when I spoke with Heather on the phone, she said as soon as she saw Evelyn, she knew she's a bright, talented player.
She knew.
But can you imagine? This is not the kind of soccer where you play a 90-minute game and then whoever scores the top, the most amount of goals wins. There's like very crazy rules. It is about target scores.
Target scores. That's the
yeah.
the novelty.
And I think, I don't know if there is an example. I don't know how to explain, but let's say towards the end, from that 7 players, you can also, like, one player gets eliminated until, like, it becomes a one-on-one almost if the target score is not, achieved. But yeah, they achieved target score by scoring that goal. So Evelyn is the hero of the day, brought another $1 million to the team. The team, share the winnings equally among, I guess, their players, except the students, because they're NCAA athletes, they cannot accept the prize purse. So she couldn't take money home, but she's okay with it. She told me she's very happy for her. It's so significant. She was also so happy that she was playing against her idols, like her heroes. She's like, I can't believe they're taking me as their peer when they're playing and practicing. And I can only imagine that. And I was thinking it must be the same thing as if you're like college basketball player and then Michael Jordan calls you to play like a pickup game and then like says, yeah, you're my peer, let's play. I'm sure it's the same thing. These are the most significant and most amazing players.
It is an interesting disruptor or sort of business model that is changing the game. And going back to Evelyn Shores' quote, this made us feel like equals playing in this tournament. I think that's why people are really attracted to it, because you do feel a bit closer to the action. The action is non-stop. You can, if you do attend or even if you watch on the telly, you're able to feel really close to it. And I think that's what people want from football and their idols. So how do you feel like where TST is now in its second year for the women's side? How do you feel like the tournament, what do you think it's achieved? Where do you think it's going?
I think looking at the numbers, now is in third year, 48 men's teams joined the tournament this year. It was huge, the men's bracket. In women, 16 women's teams. Big. And I agree with you in a few things. I feel like if we look at the Gen Z demographic, they are maybe not, first of all, they do like fast-paced activities and sporting events. I think they have a different understanding of what sports should look like, because otherwise TST would be like a one event every year. People wouldn't pay attention. They wouldn't sign the ESPN broadcast deals if there wasn't interest for it. But not only that, when someone does something and people start copying it, that there is a trend, there is a growing interest for it.
Right.
And we know that, World 7 is just, last May, we saw the first version of it. And I think even though they were professional soccer players playing a regular, league on 11 versus 11 for, super talented athletes, they really looked like they were enjoying this format, which was perhaps a little bit of entertainment more than just sport. And that's what Evelyn also told me. It was so fun to play TSD. It was different, but it was fun. It was fun to be able to do that. You score more goals. There are no ties. Nothing ends in, with goal. There are no goalless, matches.
Talk about this a lot in football, and it crosses over to business, right? Football is about moments. It's about memory. It's about emotion. So if you can tap into that, even if you don't win $1 million, you're a winner. Quench that thirst when we all get a little bit thirsty at the end of the season. Asli, before I let you go, I got to talk to you about another big scoop that you've had talking about host cities for future Women's World Cups in the United States or the North American region. What can you tell me?
Surprise. US is going to host another big tournament in about 6 years, the Women's World Cup, as probably our listeners know this, but for those who didn't know, after Brazil, the World Cup comes back here. And this week we were this past week, we were talking to U.S. host city committee presidents about the World Cup. And in that conversation, we asked many of them whether or not they're going to bid to host the World Cup, Women's World Cup in 2031. And shocking, one of the ones that is going to definitely host is Kansas City's bidding to host the Women's World Cup. I feel like that's such a perfect, I think, city when we think about women's soccer. Also, there are a lot of cities are interested. Houston is interested. Dallas is interested. San Francisco, of course. Some people say New York is interested. There's some cities that told us like their first one to finish focused at 2026. But here's an important detail. They have until the end of November this year to submit their bids. So it's going to be busy for some of these cities. Yeah.
That's soon.
It's happening right now. And the bidding process is not exclusive to cities that will host the 2026 World Cup. Any city can bid to host the Women's World Cup. I feel like there's certain doubts that we're hearing from sources who spoke to us about the financial viability of hosting the World Cup. And I will tackle that very much in detail for my column next week. So the business of hosting a World Cup.
Little down to business teaser. I love that, Asli. You're giving us, that's good business when you give us a little teaser for next week.
Yeah.
Well, that's the perfect place. That's the perfect place to leave our listeners with a little bit of a tease, ready for their next dose of Down to Business with Asli Pelit. Asli, thanks so much for joining me and getting down to business.
Thank you very much for having me, Theo. Bye.
And finally, in case you didn't know, The Athletic has partnered with Yahoo Sports to provide free, best-in-class coverage of women's sports. So go check out the Women's Sports Hub at sports.yahoo.com/women-sports. And if you can't remember that, the link is in the show notes. Go check it out. It's a really, really good hub to know. So I have been Theo Lloyd-Hughes, your host for today. Cannot wait to see you again soon. Thanks for listening.